shout is an infractitious outburst of air compressed through an oesophageal tube which goes through your endocrine to pass through what we call the osmositized fallopious dicotyledon to produce a vocal phalangeal, disturbing wavelength in a zagatron. You understand what I'm saying? Some say yes, some say no. Let the ones that understood tell the ones that don't understand so that all of us can be confused, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Comedy, especially in the form of stand-ups in Nigeria, can be identified around a few personalities, and notable among them is this man who has been described variously but mostly as the king of comedy in Nigeria.
I want to say a special thank you to the man that made me popular, that God used to make me popular, and that is always loving me, especially his beautiful wife, my mentor. Please put your hands together for Ali Baba.
Ali Baba is my stage name. I'm a Delta child. I was born in Warri sometime before the war, and I grew up. My first 6, 7, 8 years was in, and 10 years was in Warri, and then we came to Lagos shortly before the first tax 77. I was supposed to be a lawyer, and I decided that I wanted to become a comedian. It's a revered group that had caught my interest long before I even thought of going to the university, because I had an upstart of learning how to read, and so I could read from the age of 3 to 4. What had happened was that, unknown to me, my dad was sowing seeds of intellectual quest, and so the curiosity to learn, curiosity to know, had taken over me totally. And in doing that, it just made me store away information that later became handy when I became a comedian. And that's what I now did. I became a comedian. By accident, though, became a comedian and never looked back.
American film. Americans. You just see Will Smith today, Loverman, for one film. Another movie again, the guy na boxer. You see him for another movie again, na swimmer. You see him another again, na pilot. But come to Nigeria. As soon as you see Kanayo or Kanayo, you don't see the man who won't use the full family to do rituals. As soon as you see Patience Nzoku, not say the son-in-law don't die.
Let's meet the man behind the rise of an army surging into the ever-expanding space of comedy, his starters, his drive, his sidesteppings, his motivation, the industry, the platforms, the trajectory, the story behind the glory.
Night of 1,000 Laughs is a concert comedy. Before then, I'm sure there was not like concert comedy in this country. Comedians were not very business oriented. They saw the talent, but they didn't see the business of it. So by 1995, I said, okay, let's try it out. So we tried it out in Unilag, got all comedians. Then there were no comedians per se. You had to go to the radio stations and TV stations, so you had the likes of Smart Oritemo on radio, Leon Wande on radio, Mohamed Danjuma on Circles. Alibaba was doing his thing then. Ambrose Show Me Day on radio, Babak Boyne on radio TV. They were on radio basically there. And of course we had the campus comedians like of Oke Bakassi, Francis Juru, Julius Agu, John Hogan, I think his name is, So those were the first couple we needed together, to do Unilag Show.
They have become the voices of reasoning. For instance, when you put in about 600,000 naira, the equivalent of 1,250 pounds, and realize 350 pounds or 180,000 naira for an idea or initiative that negates predictions of the books, you will appear unreasonable if you continued in such venture several years after the first flop.
These guys are big assets to this country in terms of image making, in terms of export, you know, in terms of harnessing, you know, in terms of using them as peace tools, in terms of using them as economic contributors. So we've not been able to really sit back and look at these guys or this community as it were and say, okay, this community, what can they really do in terms of social, economic, you know, benefits to the nation? You understand? I mean, I worked, for example, I worked with Agoda in the street of Italy. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew me. But the guy was literally mobbed. Not by Nigerians, you know, but by others. I was with Basket Mouth in Kenya. I was with Basket Mouth in Kenya. Nobody knew me. But as soon as we entered, Basket Mouth, Basket Mouth, Basket Mouth, Basket Mouth, you know, it couldn't move. We had to actually go into a restaurant and sit down and get security, and they passed us to the back. Now that's an export brand, exportable brand. You understand? That is a national asset, national asset that can turn the image of this country around.
Make no mistakes about the background of these ambassadors. Many of them have multiple college degrees, which helped in shaping the entire industry into multi-million naira empires. Education most definitely played a major role.
The comedians use everything in the community to create their jokes. The people, the culture, the politics, the economic, the geography, and the people, cultures, and all of them. These are the things that form the content of what the comedian talks about. So every time you listen to a comedian, you can actually have an insight into the community.
What perhaps is the government not seeing?
Government is not seeing it as a viable medium to reach out to people.
Is the growth sustainable? Will there be a glut? Will it anticlimax? Are they economic contributors? Can it grow to become a study area with strong institutions? Whatever the concerns, these guys and their colleagues are too optimistic.
We've gone past the teething stage. You know. What is happening now is other forms of the arts are coming into play.
When you consider what Ali Baba has come to represent, how can you not look at the comedy industry as an industry? Consider that AY has broken box office records. I heard he's made the Guinness Book of Records by building and leveraging on his comedy brand to do comedy movies. How can that be a fad? So no, we're here to stay.
The talents abound, the output humorous and engaging, the scope of work expanding. The alerts are constantly vibrating the phones. What we now see is that comedy has moved from an end to being a means to several ends.
You must never mess with the strength of a woman. Strength of a woman. Never mess with the strength of a woman. Because women, we have our examples here in Nigeria. Small quarrel. After dating for 12 years and married, small quarrel, when a divorce, Toke write full book. Full book. Because of small quarrel.
The history books say that comedians started as voices of freedom, performing a service for humanity. Cascading to the Nigerian scene, talents have moved from individual successes to global icons, creating opportunities and briefs for lawyers, costumiers, brand executives, publicists, technical guys, industrialists, security outfits, and so many more. The Nigeria comedy industry perfectly fits that billing and has truly become a means to several ends. Thanks for watching, and here's wishing Nigeria a happy anniversary.